Roman Reigns returns with Brock Lesnar, the Bloodline's new era begins. No one in the WWE Universe could have anticipated what unfolded. A night that was expected to follow the usual rhythm of SmackDown turned into a historic spectacle of shock, betrayal, and raw power. The return of Roman Reigns wasn't just a comeback, it was a seismic shift that rocked the very core of WWE. But what made this return even more mind-blowing was who stood beside him. Brock Lesnar. For weeks, the WWE had been reeling from Roman Reigns' absence. Suspended after a controversial backstage altercation with top executives, the tribal chief was nowhere to be seen. Without Roman, the Bloodline was in disarray. Solo Sikoa was trying to keep the pieces together, Jimmy Uso was caught between loyalty and survival, and Paul Heyman, well, he was doing what Paul Heyman always does in times of uncertainty. Whispering. Plotting. Making quiet moves in the background that no one could fully track. Heyman had always been known as the ultimate survivor. He'd aligned himself with legends, masterminded shocking betrayals, and pulled strings that turned rookies into world champions. But with Roman gone, many began to wonder, was Heyman still loyal to the tribal chief, or was he planting the seeds for a new alliance, maybe even trying to manipulate the chaos in his favor? It all came to a head on this unforgettable night. The arena was buzzing with anticipation from the opening bell. Whispers about Roman's return had circulated for days, but no one truly believed it. Then, the lights dimmed. The familiar notes of Roman Reigns' entrance music hit. The roar of the crowd was deafening. Phones were raised, jaws dropped, and fans rose from their seats in utter disbelief. Roman Reigns was back, and he wasn't smiling. There was no pyro, no grand speech. Just a stare. Cold. Focused. Unforgiving. He made his way to the ring slowly, methodically, like a predator approaching its prey. The camera panned to Paul Heyman, standing in the ring with a microphone in hand, visibly shaken. Heyman, always so confident, so composed, was now frozen. As Roman stepped into the ring, he didn't even glance at the crowd. What happened next would change the course of WWE history forever. Roman Reigns, the man who had dominated the landscape for years, didn't speak a word. He simply stood, towering over Paul Heyman. And then, in a moment no one saw coming, the crowd's disbelief turned into shock as Brock Lesnar's music hit. The Beast incarnate had arrived. The chaos after Roman's absence. Roman Reigns' absence had left the WWE Universe in a state of uncertainty. The Bloodline, once an impenetrable force, had started to fracture. Solo Sikoa, while a powerhouse in his own right, struggled to keep the factions intact. Jimmy Uso, loyal yet clearly struggling with his own demons, was wavering in his commitment to the group. And Paul Heyman? Well, Heyman has always been the wild card. When Roman was suspended, rumors swirled about Heyman's true loyalty. Was he still with the tribal chief, or was he secretly plotting a different path? Paul Heyman is a master manipulator, and it didn't take long before the WWE Universe started speculating that Heyman might have been playing both sides, trying to position himself as the power broker for the next dominant faction in WWE. But even in his absence, Roman's shadow loomed large. The Bloodline may have been fractured, but there was no one in WWE that could step into his place. Despite their best efforts, no one could fill the void that Roman had left. Roman's return, a stark contrast to the past. Roman Reigns' return wasn't a typical WWE comeback. He didn't return to applause or fanfare. There were no elaborate promos or flashy entrance sequences. Roman stepped into the ring like a king reclaiming his throne, silent, focused, and with a look in his eyes that sent chills down the spine of every fan and competitor in the arena. Roman's eyes didn't scan the crowd, and there were no grand speeches about being the head of the table. The tribal chief didn't need words, his presence alone commanded respect. This was a Roman Reigns who had undergone a transformation. His time away had steeled him in a way no one had ever seen. And as he stood face to face with Paul Heyman, the tension in the air was palpable. Heyman, usually the master of manipulation, appeared almost vulnerable. It was as if the tables had turned. Paul Heyman, the greatest manager in the history of WWE, was suddenly on the back foot, trying to figure out how to navigate the dangerous waters that now surrounded him. The WWE Universe watched as Roman Reigns, without saying a word, reached out and took the microphone from Paul Heyman's trembling hand. Brock Lesnar's arrival, a true power play. The shock didn't stop with Roman's return. As if the sight of the tribal chief wasn't enough to send the fans into a frenzy, the next moment would leave them speechless. Roman Reigns, standing tall in the center of the ring, did something no one expected. He brought Brock Lesnar into the fold. Lesnar, the man who had battled Roman for years, the man who had shared a legendary rivalry with him, was now standing side by side with the tribal chief. The audience erupted in disbelief. Brock Lesnar, the beast incarnate, had always been a lone wolf, doing his own bidding and destroying anyone who dared stand in his way. But tonight? Tonight was different. Brock Lesnar's presence at Roman Reigns' side sent shockwaves throughout the WWE Universe. The alliance between the two, while not completely impossible, was unfathomable. Their past had been filled with brutal confrontations, but now, here they were, standing united. The implications of this were huge. What could this mean for the future of the Bloodline? Could this be the beginning of a new era? Was Brock Lesnar now a part of Roman Reigns' empire? Paul Heyman's struggle for survival. As Roman and Brock stood together, Paul Heyman was left to pick up the pieces. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Heyman dropped his usual composure, his mouth opening and closing, struggling to find the right words. The man who had orchestrated everything, the beast's career, the tribal chief's reign, was suddenly unsure of his position. Roman Reigns had always been the face of the Bloodline, but now, with Brock Lesnar standing at his side, it seemed as though the entire foundation of the group was changing. Was Paul Heyman still in control? Was he still the mastermind behind all of this? Or had Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar taken full control of the situation? As the tension in the arena continued to build, the audience couldn't help but wonder, would Paul Heyman's manipulation continue, or had he finally met his match? What does this mean for the WWE landscape? The ramifications of this historic moment will be felt for months, if not years, to come. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, two of the most dominant forces in WWE history, now aligned with each other. The Bloodline, once a family-oriented faction, was now at the center of something far more dangerous, an alliance built on power, survival, and raw strength. But what about the other members of the Bloodline? Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and even Paul Heyman were now left to navigate this new power dynamic. With Roman and Brock at the top, would the Bloodline's original members fall in line, or would they seek to break free? And then, there's the future of WWE itself. Roman's return signals the dawn of a new era, and with Brock Lesnar by his side, there's no telling what they could accomplish together. Could they dominate every champion on the roster? Could they rewrite the entire WWE landscape? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, this moment, this shocking alliance, has set the stage for something far bigger than anyone could have anticipated. The WWE Universe will never forget the night that Roman Reigns returned, alongside Brock Lesnar. This wasn't just a comeback. This was a seismic shift that will echo through the history of WWE for years to come. As we look forward to the future, one thing is certain, the landscape of WWE will never be the same again. What do you think? Is the return of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar a sign of an unstoppable alliance, or will the Bloodline fracture under the weight of this new power dynamic? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest WWE news. Until next time, this is Wrestling News CC, signing off. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE